The murder of Sylvia Likens isn't just a crime, it's a stain. A dark, festering reminder of how cruel human beings can become when the wrong person is in charge and everyone else decides to stop being human. It begins in 1965 with Sylvia and her sister Jenny, two girls whose parents were carnival workers, constantly moving, constantly struggling, doing whatever they could to keep their kids afloat. When money ran tight, they made the mistake that would shatter their world. They left the girls in the care of a woman they barely knew, Gertrude Banaszewski, paying her a weekly fee to look after them. It was supposed to be temporary, safe, normal. It became the site of one of the most sadistic murders in American history. At first, the house looked typical enough, messy, loud, full of kids, but nothing alarming. Gertrude herself was frail, sick-looking, chain-smoking, and quiet. Nobody expected evil to come in a shape that's small and tired. But the second the family's payments came in late, something snapped in her. Her resentment, her bitterness, her failures in life, she poured all of it into Sylvia. What started as yelling turned into slaps. What started as slaps turned into beatings. And what started as beatings spiraled into pure, methodical torture. Gertrude didn't just abuse Sylvia herself. She opened the door and let her kids join in. Then the neighbor kids, then anyone who wandered in and wanted to release a little frustration. This was the part that made investigators sick decades later. The house became a playground for cruelty. Children, actual children, took turns hitting Sylvia, burning her, mocking her, humiliating her. And Gertrude stood there like a ringmaster, directing the show, giving instructions, encouraging them. If someone didn't hit Sylvia hard enough, she'd lecture them on how to do it right. Sylvia, already malnourished, bruised, and terrified, became a living target. They burned her with cigarettes, dumped scalding water on her, carved obscenities into her skin, and starved her until she could barely stand. They forced her to crawl like an animal. They humiliated her in ways meant to destroy her spirit long before her body gave out. At one point, Sylvia asked for water, just water, and they mocked her, beat her, and denied her even that. Every plea she made was either ignored or used as a reason to hurt her more. One of the darkest parts of the case is how many people knew something was wrong and did nothing. Neighbors heard screams. Kids bragged about what they did to Sylvia. Teachers noticed her disappearing from school. Even the girl's own sister, Jenny, herself disabled and terrified, couldn't get anyone to believe her. Gertrude's authority over that house, over those kids, over the whole twisted ecosystem she'd built, was absolute. Fear kept them silent. Cruelty kept them coming back. As Sylvia deteriorated, her injuries grew so severe that she couldn't walk. Gertrude locked her in the basement. Cold, dark, cement floors, no food, no light. This was where Sylvia began slipping away. She tried to cling to any small trace of hope. She whispered apologies even when she'd done nothing wrong. She wrote a note trying to explain her injuries as an accident because she knew Gertrude planned to dump her somewhere and blame her for her own torture. Even in her final days, Sylvia was trying to survive. On her last day alive, Sylvia couldn't even lift herself off the floor. She was delirious, catching glimpses of people around her but barely staying conscious. When she tried to stand, she collapsed, her brain and body simply done. The final injuries came shortly after, and when her body finally gave out, Gertrude acted annoyed, as if Sylvia had inconvenienced her by dying. The aftermath hit Indiana like an earthquake. Police discovered a house full of witnesses, a basement of horrors, and a body covered in injuries so extensive the coroner had trouble listing them all. The trial exposed every dark detail, kids taking turns beating a girl for fun, adults who stood by and allowed it, a woman who weaponized her authority and turned an entire household into a cult of cruelty. Even the jury struggled to comprehend how so many people participated, or watched, or stayed silent. To this day, the Sylvia Likens case is taught not just in criminology, but in psychology as one of the clearest, most chilling examples of group violence and the collapse of moral responsibility. It's not just the torture itself that haunts people. It's the fact that it wasn't a single monster, it was a whole house of them. And it reminds us of something terrifying. Sometimes the scariest evil isn't hiding in shadows. Sometimes it's sitting in a living room, smoking a cigarette, telling kids to hit harder.